Hello and welcome to our closing thoughts video for Beat Cop. While we do it, I will quickly go ahead and, oh, this is cool, rewind time. I like the visual for this. This looks nice. Oh, it's like a tape player. Oh, that's, you know what, that's well done. I hadn't, found it out previously, but now that I have, it's really cool. Right, what I am going to do is see what happens if we join with the crew at 100 relations. What's the other outcome, basically. And while we do that, all the days after that won't be available. Whatever, we already beat the game, it's fine. Alright, right, so, thoughts on the game. We'll quickly skip through all this. Anyway, yes, a couple of bugs here and there. So some, like, weird things from a, I guess, timing point of view. They're not, I wouldn't say they're, like, definitely, what's the word for it? They're definitely not painful. Yeah, that's there you go. No, they're definitely not like problematic. But I'm pretty sure we've ran into a few, like maybe 2 or 3. So I suppose if you're one of those people that prefers a very polished experience with literally 0 bugs, you might have some pop up here or there. Other than that, the only real qualm I have with this game is some of the, minor design decisions. Of course, the prime number challenge that we've already gone over. I'm not gonna shit on it too hard, except for the fact that in a timed game, having a puzzle where you have to sit and think is just a terrible idea from a design point of view, in my opinion. Maybe others would have come to a different conclusion, but for me, think about the offer. Yes, accept. I'm in. The plane's waiting. Oh, it's just. Alright, there you go. We'll read that in a second. Anyway, right. So the prime question, I'm iffy on its inclusion, perhaps like an easier version of it or a different puzzle would have been better. And other than that, the only other design decision I'm not really sure on was the criminal spawn locations, because sometimes they would spawn literally on the outskirts of your precinct, not your precinct, your beat. And it would have been like impossible to catch them because they run off the map, or they basically run off and cross the street, which I feel like, as a cop, you don't just go, well, you know what, my jurisdiction ends literally at this block right here, so I guess that criminal is free to go, I'll find it hard to believe that all you need to do after stealing something is literally just leave the block in which the cop that is stationed there has not caught you, Maybe if there was some kind of ability to radio in and let him know, let Central know where the dude went running, describes appearance, again, use that bottom left button that was like report person to not have an instant drop with the cops for reputation if you don't catch him, and instead basically be like, hey, I didn't catch him, but here's what he looks like, and then you just get no reputation as opposed to getting positive reputation of the police. But that's what I think would have been a better idea, or just not have those spawns on the edges to begin with and have them spawn in the center so you actually can catch them. But whatever. That's fine too. What else? Well, let's first of all go through this real quick. Cocaine floods the streets. Can the city afford to combat narcotics? Ex-cop Jack Kelly, implicated in the disappearance of diamonds from the senator's villa, has been photographed in Colombia. The picture shows Kelly standing in front of a chopper with cartel boss Jesus El Diablo Paso. Blacklisted by the DEA, El Diablo is one of the most wanted criminals in Colombia. Kelly's reason for being there is unclear. Cocaine traffickers, still elusive. Secret war in Colombia. Oh, there you go. We became a narcotics expert. Oh, look at that mansion though. Fuck. Maybe this was a better option. But yeah, oh, I know what we should have actually done. We should have whatever. Anyway, I guess I'll continue the rest of this with, another time rewind. Whatever, we'll set it to the main screen, because you get to listen to this fucking amazing soundtrack. Right, no, actually, you know what? We will rewind time again. Just, yeah, I guess you can't go forward. Fair enough. Let's go day 20 again. Yes, so another thing I would have preferred had been in here. You know how in your notebook you can see lights, like what broken lights look like, what shitty tires look like, right? And all that nonsense. So, in addition to all that, I feel like it would have been good if the notebook contained all the cars, in the game, so that when somebody goes, it's this type of car, here I'll show you just so it's more accurate. Right here, right? You've got the tires, you got the lights. Just have another section here that shows an image of every type of car in the game, just so you as the player can be like, oh, they're looking for X type of car. this is what it looks like. I gotta be on the lookout for, I don't know, a hippie van, or you know, a normal van, or like this kind of car, right? Because from our point of view, we don't know what the cars look like just because we started playing the game. But from Jack Kelly's, who's been living in New York for, you know, however long, I'm sure he knows what every single car looks like. So, you know, from his point of view, it's a little strange that you'd be running around looking at every car being like, oh, okay, so this is what this type of car looks like, and this is what that type of car looks like. I'm sure he'd be able to spot it immediately, be like, okay, we're looking for a blue, I don't know, crocodiliac or whatever it was called. This is what they look like, right? So I think that would have been useful. What else? The bars. I mean, I don't really know. Granted, we did keep good relations, or sort of, with the police, and yes, with the crew most of the time, but I don't know what the outcomes are if you don't do so. Like, for instance, the police, right? In the early days when we were still like probably like around here-ish, which was like, the police are kind of like neutral about you. In those early days, we still did get reports about IA officers, and those are international affair officers, being out and about and checking for bribes, which I feel like unless you're in good relations maybe with the cops, they wouldn't have told you that. Now, granted, we never got into bad relations, so I don't know what the outcomes of that would be. Maybe they would not tell you that kind of information, and then you wouldn't be able to have it, and then you get, you know, caught taking bribes. So that's a possibility, but I feel like early days, back when you're still neutral, you also shouldn't be given that info until you start getting good, and then the game goes like, hey, you know, we're only giving this information to you because we think you're on our side and you're a good dude. So there's basically a reason to keep the police meter up on the good side, you know, more than just to feel good about yourself, basically. Same thing with the crew. I mean, getting into 100 did give you that alternate ending, which we just saw. It's interesting that these are being generated while we're on pause, but anyway, which we just saw. But other than that, like, I don't know what having a high rating for the crew gives you, other than literally getting 100%, which gives you another ending, right? Maybe if you have high rep with the crew, you know, when you catch criminals, there you go. When you catch criminals, you don't have the crew reputation drop because you've done so much good stuff for them already that they're going to be like, all right, you know, these petty things, you caught a dude, I don't know, breaking in, entering, and stealing X thing isn't as big of a problem, so we're not going to have a reputation drop, just so there's a reason for it. And, like, on the other hand, we did get pretty low with the Mafia. Like, we're a half a bar already over, and there's still nothing. Like, so I don't know what happens, basically, if you go low. At half of a bar in the red, there's still nothing going on. You know, there's no, like, hit squads being sent out, and there's, you know, no problem with them. Maybe if you go even lower, then they start firing at you, and, like, you know, if you hit negative 100, then your job was almost made impossible because you're either constantly trying to be shot at or are actually killed by a hired assassin. So that I don't know because I didn't, you know, get it that low. But if that's in, that's good. If it's not, then maybe have that in there. Otherwise, I know why it would be. And continuing from there, from these bars, you know how you have 4 endings in the game? I feel like if you have negative reputation with whoever you're trying to do, it shouldn't be in there, right? Because what do you have? You have the crew, you have the Mafia, you have the Senator, you have the police, right? So the Senator ending should always be open to you at all times. Again, this is in my ideal version of this game, right? The police ending is only open to you if you have good reputation with police, say, like, I don't know, 50, 60 or above, whatever good would be for this game. And then the crew ending, again, it was also open to you for only if you have a good reputation with them, so that, you know, you can, I guess, depending on who you threw your lot in, that's who will help you out. Because I mean, that would make sense, right? You've been helping them out, then they may want to do a good favor for you. Because right now, what happens, right, is I can take the Mafia ending if I want to, which is strange because the Mafia is the negative 55 and they're, like, really not pleased with me. So what would be the point of them helping me out? Sure, they do get something out themselves if they blackmail the Senator. They, you know, get more power from that. They it's useful for them, but at the same time, why would they want to help me if we had such bad relations, like, this entire playthrough, right? So I don't know, maybe have the endings based off of that. That would have been also a good idea. So I mean, other than that, that's pretty much it for just, like, negatives and or quirks and or, you know, minor annoyances, etc., whatever you want to call that. Now, onto the actual story. You know what? It's enjoyable. It's definitely not something that's like an epic or anything, but it doesn't go for an epic. It goes for your more or less, I don't want to say cliche, but what's the word for it? Expected, I guess, 80s vibes, and it does it pretty well. You have a pretty solid story. Overall, enjoyable. You get through a standard 80s TV show more or less in the span of a game, and yeah, the atmosphere is, I feel like, more or less pretty well done. Characters are amusing enough, and I never at a point reading conversations where you're like, oh my god, get on with it, right? It's always interesting enough, whether it be to the point or they're just like fucking around and having a good time, right? That's all that is all well done. So yeah, overall, if I had to put a score on it, I'd probably say it's sitting in the 7.5 range. Really, just for one playthrough, absolutely, recommend it. It's enjoyable, but there are some things which I feel like either are like slightly lacking or could have been done better. So for me, it's not quite an 8, but I don't want to say it's a 7 because it's not necessarily botched in how it's presented. It's not like they did pretty well but fucked up. It's like they did pretty well, but there's just a couple of dirt stains here and there that would have been excellent if they had been cleaned up. So yeah, 7.5 is probably where we're going to be sitting at, and yeah, there you go. There you go. Hope you enjoyed our playthrough. Hope you enjoyed whatever else you've been here for. But yeah, until then, I've been OvoCephalon, you've been the audience, and this has been Beat Cop, and I'd love for you to join us for whatever we do next. Thank you and goodbye.